Middle of Gozez, Rabbi Isai. We started yesterday the sugya of Gozez, which is the sugya of shearing, which is the sugya of hair, nails, and skin, which we will discuss. Be'ez Hashem. Yesterday was a little bit of a hakdama. Haircuts?
Take it out.
Take it out. Oh, with the fan. Oh, very good. Volvi has a kasha. So we started with the email. We never even got to the terrace of the email. It's a good kasha. We're going to get to that. Be'ez Hashem. Remind me. It's Volvi did this gavaldi. Shkoy for reminding me. Okay, so Rabbi said that's the sugya that we were holding in. So let's just continue with a couple of different ideas to remember on this. Try to get a little bit practical, a little bit maisa. Number one, the Shulchan Aruch lemaisa. At the beginning of Siman Shin Mem, which is also in Yeridei Siman Kuf Pei Beis, paskins that when a person takes out a white hair from amongst black hairs, so obviously you have a shaila on Shabbos Kodesh of Gozez because you are removing a hair. And by the way, over there you could definitely understand the rivash that we said yesterday, which is you're being miyapa, you're actually improving the area, which is why it's not a malacha she'einu tzricha legufa, it's a malacha she'tzricha legufa, because I need that hair out to make the rest of my hair look younger, right? Somebody. Oh, no, very good, excellent. Shlomo Zalman talks a little bit about Gabi Lais. We'll talk about that, and then Shlomo has to tshuva about it. But it's not boira, but it's like silbash, right? Shulchan Aruch brings that at the beginning of the Siman Shin Mem. As I said, Yeridei Kupei Beis. Eli, are you with me? Very, very important. Okay. Therefore, we've got to be careful. I remember I was once by, I was many times, Baruch Hashem, by Goyna Godlu Rebbe Orbach Shlita. Maybe we'll be zoicha to go together as a group to get a bracha from my Goyna Godlu Rebbe Orbach Shlita. So I was sitting there, as I did many times, Baruch Hashem, at the schos of doing Shemesh by him for a long time, and a Yid came in, and he was saying a few different things. He was just let out of prison, and he was talking about whether he's allowed to make brachas in a place where there's a toilet in the room. That was the story over there. But upon him, one of the things that came out is that when he just got married, just after his wedding, he started to have one long white hair. And his wife was like, seriously, I caused you that much stress? It's only been 2 weeks. A long white hair, like, come on, what's going on? Can you please dye it? No, it really bothered her. It really bothered her. Yeah, well, long white hair, everyone's going to look and say, oh, you got married, look what happened. Right, so she was upset. So please, can you dye it? He's like, I'm not allowed. Like, not allowed. They silbash, dyeing your hair, whatever. So he went at the time. He told us the Maisa in front of Rabbi Zul. I was there. He said he went to Rabbi Yashiv's Zatzal at the time, and he asked Rabbi Yashiv the Shaila. He said, my wife doesn't like it. I'm allowed to dye it or not? Rabbi Yashiv looked at him and said, zeh shine. It's beautiful. It looks nice. You're not allowed to dye it. Right, that's the halacha. Just because I asked Rabbi Zilobach one time, I said, you go to Chutzlowitz and you have specific dyes of hair for men. State mafurish on the box, right, Eli? For men, right? That's what they do. Okay? Are you allowed to dye your hair with such a thing? Menachem, Avadanist, right? So I told him, I said, Rebbe, but in Chutzlowitz they have all these things. It says for men. It's specifically made for men. It's not for women. This one is for men.
For men on a skirt too. It doesn't.
I don't know. Nowadays. Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
Rabbi Zul looked at me, he smiled, he said, in Chutzlowitz they also have to keep the Torah. That's where it is. Okay. Let's go, Rabbi Isai. No, it's because of the Silbash. Rabbi Isai, let us move on. Dyeing your hair is awesome. Right, on Purim. Oh, that's a machlokes. The Ramah brings it, whatever, I'm not going to we'll talk about it for Purim.
Dyeing your hair is also?
During the week, yeah. What's that? If you make your hair orange, could be. If there's a tshuva, if you whiten your teeth, is that considered to be like silbash? There is such a not brush. Not brush. If you whiten your teeth. Let's be clear. Oh my gosh, I am going to be in trouble after this. Rabbi said, let's move on. Everybody is familiar with the Gemara in Nazim Membeis. The Gemara in Nazim Membeis talks about a Nazir. A Nazir, as we know clearly, is someone that is not allowed to cut his hair. Depends on the neder, depends how long he made the neder for, stam neder, whatever, right? We're not talking about the different specifics, but the idea is that a Nazir is not allowed to cut his hair. The Gemara discusses the shaila. Is a Nazir allowed to use a comb to comb his hair? And the Gemara says it's a problem. Why? Because he's going to be uprooting the hair. Zog the Shulchan Aruch, Soif Siman Shin Gimel, that the same would apply on Shabbos Kodesh. On Shabbos Kodesh, you take a comb and you comb your hair, right? You're going to pull out a blade of hair. It's going to happen. It's going to come out. So what are you going to tell me? I know Doinam's going to say. I'm going to preempt the question. It's not a psik reisha. Right? We're not going into it, but I'll bottom it's a psik reisha is asa for sure, because it's for sure going to. The Olim knows what a psik reisha is. We have a new Olim here. We have to explain the Olim. The Olim knows what a psik reisha is? Right. So let me explain very clearly. Very quickly, simply. A psik reisha means, the Gemara says, that you have kids, and these kids wanted to play ball on Shabbos Kodesh. So therefore they took a chicken, they cut off the head, and they said, Gavaldik, we have a ball now. And someone said, yeah, but you just killed the animal. Yeah, but I didn't want it to happen. Like, no, that's not what I wanted. I wanted to get a ball, and therefore, right? So the answer is it's called the psik reisha v'la It's like, you can't cut off a head of a chicken and it not die. It doesn't happen that way. It's vade going to happen. A psik reisha is asa. If it's not a psik reisha and it's a dover she'enim eschaven, meaning we have no kavana to do it, then it could be it's okay, Shimon. Right? So therefore the question is over here. Is it a psik reisha when you comb your hair? So listen to this, Rabbi Say. The Shulchan Aruch discusses in Siman Shin Amud Zayin. What has the halacha with walking on grass? So walking on grass is mutter. The shaila is about running on grass, okay? Because you may come to do what? Kaitza. Kaitza is you're uprooting or ripping something. You're taking something from its place of growth, which is, by the way, very similar, Zev, to Gozez as well, is that you're taking off the skin and the nails from where it's growing, and now you're no longer going to allow it to grow, you're detaching it, okay? Comes along the Rivosh, says an amazing svara. Every time you go with your comb and you comb your hair, every single time, each time, is hair going to come out? Lav dafka. Not every single time, right? Zut the Rivosh, he's mechades to something called the psik reisha nimsheches. That means we look at the ganze Maisa and saying, in this Maisa, is it going to happen, yes or no? If the answer is yes, psik reisha. That means even those of the Rivosh, every time you comb your hair, each stroke that you make is not vade going to pull out hair. But since in the whole action, from beginning to end of the combing of the hair thing, there's going to be a hair pulled out. Shlomi, you with me? That will be a psik reisha. It's going to happen at some point. That's called a psik reisha. Mimela zuk the Shulchan Aruch so Siman Shin Gimel that it's asa to use a comb on Shabbos Kodesh, which by the way means that obviously a comb is what? Muktzah, poshet. Says the Mishnah Berurah, but what are you meant to do? You're going to come into shul on a Shabbos morning, azah, right? Yeah. So if you have a huge seder, you could cover it. But if not, right, what are you going to do? So the Mishnah Berurah is bothered by this. What's going to be? The Mishnah Berurah is bothered by what's the comb that you're allowed to use. Yeah? Chaim, you with us? Yeah? Matcha, yeah? So far so good? Look, the Mishnah Berurah, 3 conditions. The Olim knows what the 3 conditions are, obviously, because anyone that combs the hair obviously has such a zach. So what are the 3 conditions that the Heilige Chofetz Chaim Chus and Yugen Alayni says that you have to have in place before you comb your hair?
Is combing and brushing the same thing?
What's that?
Is combing and brushing the same thing?
Combing and brushing is the same thing. Miyuchad v'Shabbos, why? Because they say the words? Come on, Yitzi, you know you want to say it. Ovdin the Chol, very good, beautiful. You have to have a separate brush, Ruvain, specifically for Shabbos. Okay, what's the other one? What's that? That's Sameir. Simcha what?
That's separate pants also?
No. Well, what do you mean, for Shabbos Kodesh? Yeah, but not because of Ovdin the Chol. That's because of Kavod Shabbos. That's not Ovdin the Chol. Because that doesn't do a malacha. It's very different. Ovdin the Chol, if you want, Yitzhak can give you a whole drosha on Ovdin the Chol, exactly how it applies. No, Rabbi say, that's the first condition. Ben, what's the second condition? Asha.
I don't brush my hair.
He doesn't brush hair, obviously. Then he wouldn't know. Avada. Those that do, I'm assuming nobody does. We're going to check on Shabbos morning.
Maybe Shiva, you come down, whatever it is that is.
Beautiful, beautiful. Ask him.
You get a size 10 yarmulke.
Oh.
Cover it up.
If you come down.
The Mishnah Berurah says it's got to be a comb that has very, very soft bristles. So that if you're brushing and it meets a knot, Ellie, it won't rip it out. Oh, very good. Rav, are you allowed to put your hand in your hair? The answer is softly. Softly you're allowed. In other words, to make sure that you don't come to any knots and rip them out. What's the third condition? You do not have to buy this from, so you don't have to buy one with a hechsher on it either. You can buy whichever one you want, as long as it's soft. Third condition, Rabbi Isai. Yosef. Tuli, no? Epis. Be quiet now. No. The Chavetz Chaim says that when you brush very softly. Don't brush very forcefully. Just in case, even with a soft brush, you make sure that there is nothing going to be pulled out. So the Mishnah Berurah brings us 3 conditions that it is important to know that you have to have. Again, let's say it clearly. Number 1, a soft brush that has very soft bristles. Number 2, by the way, Yitzi, it's not going to help you to have a comb that has the bristles that are far apart, because if it's hard and it won't make a difference, because it's still going to rip out the knot at the end of the day, however far apart it is. If you have a soft one, like for example, they make baby brushes for baby hairs. For babies, you're obviously not going to take a hard brush or a hard comb and comb a baby's hair, right? They have a soft one, right, Yosef? So it has to be a soft bristle. You have to comb or brush softly. And number 3, one specifically for Shabbos Kodesh because of Uvdin Dechol. Okay, those are the 3 conditions. Okay, what? Same applies to a bit. Now, Rabbi said, moving on. By the way, it's not negated to any of you, but Be'ezah Hashem, B'siyatu D'Shmaya, Be'itu B'zman at the right time and definitely not before, you're going to get married. And your wife's going to ask you a shayla. She's going to ask you a shayla, and she's going to say, hold on a minute, I went to seminary, I know that there's a problem of Gozez. Gozez means you're taking out something that's actually growing. I have a shaitel. The hair in the shaitel is not growing. So therefore there should be no problem in combing a shaitel on Shabbos. Why? Because there's nothing growing. And if there's nothing growing, there's no Gozez. What's the answer, Shimon? Avada nisht. Chas v'shulam. Avada nisht. It's the same, it's not the issue of Gozez, but there are other simcha. There are other isurim on Shabbos why you cannot comb a shaitel on Shabbos as well. Sometime it's koreya, sometime it's soisa, tikkun mana, whatever you want to say, but there definitely will be a problem. I remember a woman calls me up, she says to me about shaitel putting rollers in a shaitel on Shabbos. Are you allowed to put a roller? Now I could tell that she understood the shaila. She understood like all the different stodim. So I said, have you spoken to anyone about this before? Like you seem to know what you're talking about, right? Sometimes you ask a shayla, you ask the shayla. Sometimes you seem to know what you're talking about a bit too much. Have you spoken to anybody else? She says, well, listen, I asked another rabbi, he was macher, but I heard you're maker, so I'm just calling you up, right? Which is asa, by the way. It's mamish asa. 3 places in Shas, the Gemara says, Chocham shetim ein chaver yochel etar, right? Shulchan Aruch brings him, Achrikas Rashba and Ran, whatever. But upon him, you can't just ask Rabbonim. We'll talk about it at a different time. You can't just run around asking Rabbonim, right, about all these things. Head to hotline. Very, really, really bad. Really, really bad. Okay, moving on, Rabbi Isai. Scratching your hair. Are you allowed to scratch hair? Forget about whether you need it to the Sedayim afterwards for davening. I'm not going into that at this moment of time. But scratching your hair on Shabbos is very simple. If a person is careful that it's not going to be a psik reisha on others, he knows his hair, that it will not vaday cause hair to fall out, it will not be a psik reisha. The Kaf HaChaim discusses this mufurash, the Kaf HaChaim, and the Kaf HaChaim says that there's no problem with it whatsoever. The Aisha Lavam Mibuchach also says the same thing as well. If it's not a psik reisha, it's okay. There's a famous Maisa with the Heilige Arizal, that the Arizal was careful not to touch his beard on Shabbos Kodesh. One time, the Arizal found his fingers in the hair of his beard. He chapped the pachad, and Arizal left his fingers in the beard the entire Shabbos. He did not want to remove his hair. He did not want to remove his hand. The Heilige Bel Zeruv, the Bel Zeruv, Schusen Yugen Alayni, one time was blowing shofar. It was Rosh Hashanah morning, and he was blowing shofar, and he chapped that one of the hairs of his beard got detached as he put the shofar in. He said, that's it, finished, I'm not blowing shofar ever again. It causes a issa like this, it's not negay. It wasn't Davish in Mischaven, it was not a p'skreisha. B'seidah, but on our level of the Heilige Bel Zeruv and Avada, he was obviously thinking differently, but it means that a person has to be careful of all sorts of things. Rabbi say, we've got a lot more to discuss. If you have a child, Rachmana litzlan, that has lice, are you allowed to remove that lice on Shabbos? And the shayla number 2, which we have to get to tomorrow, are you allowed to look into a mirror on Shabbos Kodesh? Join us tomorrow. Have a wonderful day.